You've got it to a point where it looks like a meth lab. You're pretty close to doing the CO2 reaction. What I've done is I've picked the wrong bottles, so I'm going to have to pick up a new bottle to figure out how we're going to get this to work. Welcome back to Channel Guys, Dave from Horizon Fish Keeping, and as you can see, I'm in the fish room once again. Now today we're going to be doing a little project on CO2 for planted aquariums, so mainly planted tanks. We're going to be making his own CO2 by doing like a biosystem. It's very easy to do, and if you stay tuned, I'll teach you all the ways that I've found and all the things that I've learned over doing the bio CO2 systems over the last sort of 2 years. So stay tuned guys, and we'll get on with the project. The best way to start this project is not to drop your bicarbonate soda all over your dining room floor. What you want to do is you want to put it on the table here. No, I'm messing guys. Yeah, don't do this, it's not good. You eagle-eyed viewers will know that I made this video roughly around 2 years ago when my channel was brand new. But now I know more about the aquarium hobby, I want to show you a better in-depth way of doing this project with the CO2. A lot of people and a lot of questions that I get asked is, how do you regulate a tank? Can it go in a 20-gallon tank? Can it go in a 20-litre tank? Can it go in a 400-gallon tank? Well, today's video we're going to show you all the tips and tricks that I've learned doing the homemade CO2 system, and it's really simple. It's just a few little tips and twerks and whatever you can think of to improve the system. So stay tuned guys, and it should be a good video. Here we are guys, back in my house. For you guys that want to know how to do CO2 the cheap and easy way, there's a few things that you will need. Like I use the 2 litre or 1 litre soda bottles, or sort of Pepsi bottles, Coca-Cola bottles. Anything that's got carbonated soda in there will work just fine because it's made with a thicker material. Also, you'll need some sodium bicarbonate or baking soda. So I use the Whole Earth ones. I always use these products for the aquarium hobby. So I use the Whole Earth brand in general. I'm not sponsored by them guys, but it just seems to be the cleanest, easiest way. It's the vegan alternative. You know, there's no additives in it or all like that. So I use the Whole Earth version of this sea salt for my brown shrimp hatches, and I also use the Whole Earth variety for the sodium bicarbonate or the baking soda, and also for citric acid as well. So I use the same brand for that. You want to be buying at least 500 grams to a kilo. I mean, this one's a kilogram bag. This one's 500 grams. You'll also see little bottles like this you can buy from, this one's from Sainsbury's in England, which is just like a retail grocery shop or place where you can buy your food from. This is pretty good, but they come in 180 grams. You will need to buy a few of these to do the project. I've got an adapter here because parts of this particular setup are Chinesium, and by Chinesium I mean they've got this weird kind of plug set to buy this adapter off Amazon. Sometimes they come with an English plug or American plug or Australian plug, but it depends on the kit that you get. And also you'll need this sort of system, so you've got a dropper there or a bubbler. This will count the amount of bubbles per second, so you fill this up with water, which I'll show you later on in the project. And we'll get to building. You also need a regulator, which is this part of the kit, and this will show you what sort of pressures holding inside your bottles that you've pre-bought and saved to do this kit. I get a lot of questions about this sort of CO2 system, on how to regulate it going into your tank. Now I use a solenoid, so this solenoid here has got an inlet and an outlet. So the inlet comes from the CO2 reactor and the outlet will go to the tank. But I'll show you later on in the project on how I adapt this to go into my system, and how we can change this from a time system. And also you'll need some of these little sort of filters what go into the bottles, but we'll show you more on that later on in the project. So stay tuned guys, and hopefully you'll learn a few things, because I've been doing this for at least 2 years, making my own CO2, and well, I'll show you the tank. The tank's running like homemade CO2 on this tank, and you can see, you know, we've got rainbow fish, the greenery, it's all looking good. So stay tuned and we'll teach you how to do this. And so the last thing that you'll need is a CO2 diffuser, something like this. Now I soak these in my tanks 24 hours before I do the project, because the stone on the top just needs some water in there. But you can see, if you want growth like this, then you need to get some CO2 going in there, and some simple steps that you can take, which we'll show you in this video, that can make your aquarium just look like this. Now, a few of the things that will make this task far easier is a jug for your water, and also a funnel if you can get them two things, it just makes it so much easier. People are wondering why I don't have my mic on at the moment. It's because the case that I use in the construction industry is an OtterBox and my microphone will not fit. So I usually use this microphone. But if you can buy these things, you'll be absolutely fine. Now what we're going to be doing is constructing the project now. So we've got two 2 litre bottles, just like this. You want to use the carbonated bottles. I've actually mixed the baking powder into the 200 milliliter water. So there's 200 milliliters of plain tap water to 200 grams of baking powder in this jug, and then in the other jug I've got 600 milliliters of plain water with 200 grams of citric acid. Now all you want to do is just pour these solutions into your bottles that you've got cleaned out. Now these kits are pretty good for generating CO2, but there's some ways you can make them a little bit stronger and a little bit easier to deal with, because things I've found out using the CO2 system along the way is your airlines can blow off and stuff like that. The best way to solve that problem is just to fix and stick any joints that you stick together with super glue. So just remembering which one's your CO2. The CO2, the citric acid has got more solution in than the bicarb. I'm just going to give the bicarb a stir up because it's sort of settled a little bit on the bottom of the jug just here. So I'll just give it a mix. What you're aiming to do is it will settle once it's in the bottle, and the chemical reaction between the citric acid and the bicarbonate soda will create the CO2 gas. So I'm just going to pop the bicarbonate soda into the bottle B, as you can see there. You can use a funnel to do this. It does make life a little bit easier to pour it, but it's not too difficult. So that's bottle B. So once you've got your 2 bottles ready, you'll need to sort out your pipes for the pipes that go into the bottles. Now you can see with this one here, it's not quite long enough to reach the bottom. It's important to have the citric acid one especially. The pipe needs to reach the bottom of the bottle. So we're using your filter there and a long enough piece of airline hose, you can get that to reach the bottom of the bottle there, and that goes on the citric acid side. So that's the citric acid side. It's just a piece of pipe with a little filter on. I'm going to drop that into the bottle, making sure that it's reaching the bottom, which it is. It's just a little weight that holds it down. You want to get these bottles real nice and tight, because once the pressure's in there, you don't want it leaking from this gasket just here on the bottle. So hopefully you guys can see that okay. And then on the bottle B side, so the bicarbonate soda side, the setups are slightly different. So this is the setup that you want to use. You want to use a non-return valve for going down. And then you'll want a T-joint. So what I usually do is I'll just get a piece of hose, just like this one here. In fact, we'll just use a short one, just so you can see. So it looks something like that. And you use your T-piece just above there. Now it's important you do this the correct way. So this piece of the hose that we're going to put up to the top, we need a piece that's long enough again to reach the bottom. So this one I'll do for there, for the top piece. And then we need another non-return valve facing the opposite way. So this one wants to be going outward. The flow wants to be going outward. So we'll get another piece of this non-return valve just here. And then it goes onto the other side of the T-piece. So it should look something like that when you're finished. You can pause the video now if you need to have a look at that. So we've got flow going outward for that side. And then this one's going downward for that side. And then this piece will just fix again inside the bottle B. There's a little nipple, you can push that onto there. Now the difficult part of this process is to get the T part of it. You can use, if you use a Y piece instead of a T, it's slightly easier to get in, but you've got to get all of this part inside the bottle. Now this bit can be a little bit fiddly at first, but I usually find if you fold the airline over like that, it'll usually pass through the top of the bottle, and then put the non-return valve. I'll just see if you guys can see that okay. The non-return valve, put that bit in afterwards, so push it all in, and then again screw that on real tight. Now when you first start these reactions with these, they can be a little bit slow to get going. I usually as well, with the droppers at the top, just screw the dropper. You usually get a dropper with these kits just like this. I usually put oil inside these. I don't use water like they suggest you do. You're better off putting oil in these because it just doesn't evaporate as easy. And I'll just sort of half fill that with oil. So I'll get off camera, I'll just fill this up with a little bit of some cooking oil will do. So I just popped in about halfway with some cooking oil. I use this, it's a little bit more viscous, but it doesn't evaporate as easy. If you put water in this, you'll find that it'll empty out fairly quickly. You want to screw that back onto the top of your CO2 reactor. Make sure all the gaskets and the rubber seals are there. Don't go too heavy on these because I have been known to break them in the past. And you want to screw the top of that on the little lid, and you'll start seeing bubbles actually come in fairly quickly out of this part. Make sure the valve's shut, and then you want to use your pipe then going down to your CO2 diffuser, which you buy separately usually with these systems. So like this is the part that goes into the tank, and then the CO2 bubbles come off there. If you bought the bigger kit, which I did, you'll come with a solenoid. So this controls, it's an open and shut gate, and this controls when the CO2 is released to the tank. I will show you a little bit later on in the video how I control this. Just please be aware that these solenoids get extremely hot when the power is on. I use an adapter from a Chinesian plug. I've just got an adapter off of Amazon, just like this. I can't remember which way it goes around now, but it plugs into there anyway. Can't remember which way now, but yeah, you plug that into there basically, and then I use a timed socket as well to control the CO2, and it also gives you a little bit more scope on how long you can have your airline, because you can just have another break. If you've got a small piece of airline in your fish room or whatever, then you can just pop that on. Just make sure these are nice, cut them straight as well, the airlines, just to make sure it's a nice snug fit. And then you want to put your little stopper back on, roll that down to your solenoid, and then you want to tighten these up real tight, because this is where all the pressure is in the solenoid. So what will happen is once the CO2 is coming up to this part here takes all the pressure while it's off, and then you want to use your other little piece on the opposite end, and then this one attaches to the top of your CO2 reactor, just like this. Again, make sure that you've got your pipe all the way on and real tight, because this will be a weak point for the pressure when it builds up as well. And what you'll find is with the CO2 reactors and pipes, once you open this gate here, these slightly expand with the pressure, so that can cause problems with them popping off. And then obviously I'll connect that to the tank in a moment when I'll show you once we get the CO2 reaction going. So basically, to get the reaction going, what you need to do is you need to get bottle A, and you need to squeeze it real hard. If you squeeze the bottle, you'll start seeing it coming out of there, and then the pressure will start building up. You can see the bubbles going back up the pipe there, and this little part here will drop CO2 now into the baking soda. You just keep giving it a good squeeze, and it'll start reacting with the baking powder and building up pressure. And then you should see on your pressure gauge, it'll start going into the green. So I'll wait for the pressure to build up. It does take a little while. It can take up to 2-3 hours to build up the pressure. Once you've got it, the reaction started, and you'll be well on your way to making some CO2. So it's been about 10 minutes. You can see the bubbles are coming up. I actually turned this outside part around, so the backflow filter, I've actually turned it round, so it's actually coming inward now. And what you want to do is you want to squeeze the citric acid, and you'll start getting a reaction. I don't know if you can hear it fizzing on camera. The needle's just starting to lift off a bit now, so we're creating CO2 at this point. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to fix up the solenoid, I'm going to add it to the tank, and I'll show you guys it working. If you do have any questions on this system, then please let me know It's fairly simple to set up, but I know that I had some trouble when I first set it up, getting it to get going, but if you just be patient with it, it will start going eventually, and you'll get CO2 going to your tank. So I'm going to go soak the diffuser for a little while in my tank water, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can with when the pressure's built up. You can see it's just lifting off the zero now and heading its way up to the green. And what you want to keep doing is just sort of keep giving it a bit of a squeeze. It is fairly hard to squeeze, but if you keep giving it a quick injection of that citric acid into the bicarb, you can also pump. If you pump squeeze it, so squeeze and then release, and squeeze and then release. You're building pressure constantly then, and it will build up the pressure to the green eventually, and once you get in the green you're good to go. So we'll set up on the tank and I'll show you it working. So I've got it all buttoned up now, guys, on the guppy tank. You can just see it there at the back, that's the diffuser. So that's rigged up, it's been soaking for a little while. I just found a little spot just under the cabinet here next to the canister filter, just to put the 2 bottles. Now this is the valve that controls the amount of CO2 that's going into the tank, and you can judge this by this dropper here. You can also put a tap halfway up, somewhere where the solenoid is, so you can see the solenoid just there at the back. And I'm going to be controlling this from a tapo plug, which I use to do my lights, so I can have it on sort of an hour before my lights come on, and it'll go off an hour after my lights turn off. That's how I control the CO2. It makes it last a hell of a lot longer, rather than having it pumping all day. And it also stops the tank being gassed out by the CO2. Obviously once the plants have stopped taking the CO2 out of the water at the night time when the lights are off, it will start gassing the tank out, so you need to be aware of that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the tapo and I'll just show you it running. And that should be the end of this video. If you do have any questions, then hopefully you'll send us a quick message in the comment section. I can get back to you as soon as possible on it. So I'll get it set up on the tapo plug and I'll show you guys it running. Right then, guys, we've got the tank back together. The CO2 is on now. It's been on for around an hour, so it's been running, you know, pretty well. And I just wanted to try and show you that's the type of CO2 injection you'll be getting into your tank. And these fine bubbles then will just float around and they'll go around in the tank and dissolve into the water column. So thank you for watching this video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you could press the like button, that'd be very much appreciated. Hope you're all having an awesome week, and I will catch you back on Sunday when I release the next video. So thanks very much, and have an awesome week. So I've got it all buttoned up, guys. I've got the doors back closed. I've cleaned out the filter as well. You can see I've got some blackbeard algae on the leaves there, so I need some CO2 in this tank, so you can see it working now. You see it's bubbling away nicely. So these little micro bubbles will just dissolve into the water column and provide some CO2 for the plants. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I'll be releasing another video Sunday this week, hopefully. And hopefully you'll all be subscribed. Please leave a like and a comment if you can. It really helps out my channel. I'm just trying to make some more content. So have a great week, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.